Even the Arab oil fields have predicted would be run out in about 10 years. Even they aren't running out. Your book goes on to describe how the Islamic peoples are becoming more and more religious as time goes on. They do have a problem, though, with their women. Their women are told they have, in some places they have to wear veils, but some of them are saying, no, we're not going to. Your book shows a picture of an Arab woman engaged in a soccer game. But women are being more and more allowed to go to colleges, and I want to state this, and I've talked this over some of my other professors. Among my Arab students, female Arab students are generally A students. They're women. Partly because they don't have social life, they're not allowed, they're restricted in what they can do. So they don't have a whole lot to do besides study. They don't go to parties very often. They're men, and I've got to be careful, I can't say this to the class I teach tomorrow. Arab men tend to be C students. They have a whole lot of parties to attend, a whole lot of other things that they must take care of, a whole lot of religious obligations that interferes with their studies. And their men have a difficult time in a Western school. About the subject of women, there's one woman I must mention, a woman that the Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir. Golda Meir was born in Milwaukee, and for a time, actually she was born in the United States, I don't know, but for a time she was a Milwaukee school teacher, big city school teacher. But she was a Jew, and she went back to Israel, one of the few Americans who went back. In fact, I'll tell you something, the Israelis used to tell the Americans, send your money over here, don't you come. The problem with you Americans is you're too soft. You don't know how rough life is over here, but send your money, send your tourists. We'll protect your tourism. We'll protect your tourists. But anyway, Golda Meir became the prime minister, and she was the one who led Israel to victory in the 1973 Yom Kippur War. But I'll always remember a couple things about her. Number one, when I was sitting in a college campus watching the news, and they showed Golda Meir, one of the young men made a remark, and I'll quote him, he said, I tell you that woman has got to be the ugliest woman on the face of the earth. You can take that for whatever you want. Of course, by this time, Golda Meir was a very old woman. She didn't live long after that. But here's a famous quote, something that I quoted to a Jewish man in Lockheed who really appreciated me saying it. Golda Meir said to her Arab neighbors, quote, we can forgive you for killing our sons, but we cannot forgive you for making us kill your sons. And take it for what it's worth. Now, I want to say this too about feminists. I had 3 students in the other class do a paper on the women's movement. And one of them, for the first time in my teaching career, one of them was a man. Muslim women are still considered property, and Muslim women are still mutilated before they're married to try to make sure they remain faithful to their husbands. And the rest of the world doesn't say a word against it, folk. You understand me? Not one word. They protest how terribly American women are treated, how that American women do not receive the same pay as the men do. As for the Arab women, not a word. Now, here is what the Arab men fear more than anything else, in fact, the whole Arab world. They're afraid that their women will take on the ideas of Western women. You know, they'll start dressing like Western women. They'll start wanting a career like Western women. They'll start wanting to not have 8 children. I mean, the average Arab woman has about 8 children per woman. They'll start wanting to have fewer children. And they'll start demanding the right to divorce their husbands, the right to other rights that Western women enjoy. And folk, every religion knows if it can't keep its women in line, the religion is kaput, that is ruined and done for. And the Arab men, the Arab world fears that if their women adopt Western attitudes, Western ideas, and Western ways, their religion is done for. You might say, how are women so important? It's the women who transmit the religion from one generation to the next. Much more so than the men. The women teach it to the next generation. All right. Our big number one enemies among the terrorists is a group called Al-Qaeda. I'm not going to write that down, but it's Al-Qaeda, I believe. We recently, just a few days ago, hit an Al-Qaeda training camp in the United States. We hit them with drones. Now, if you didn't know anything about drone aircraft, they're remote-controlled aircraft that can be made much, much smaller and lighter than anything that that can carry a man. And they're practically undetectable radar. But they can carry a whole lot less. Because they don't carry a man, they carry less fuel. They're operated by remote control. Like a kid will operate a computer and pretend that it's a real airplane, except this time it's a real airplane you're operating. And the airplane, thanks to its hidden camera, to its cameras inside the airplane, can see where it is. They know where it is thanks to GPS, that the global satellites that circulate above the Earth. And most of you might have cell phones that have built-in GPS. I do. You always know where you are and can supposedly find your way out. Anyway, these drones, you might see one flying around anywhere. Some private business are taking them up. It's a cheaper way to get some paperwork from one place to another. Just use a drone. I'm waiting for the day, though, when drones start colliding with major aircraft. But anyway, small aircraft, remote controlled, that can be used as bombs, and you don't have to worry about getting the pilot back home.